My name is Anna Hammer, and I was really blessed this year to travel to 4 different continents, spreading the gospel. I work for Aglow International, and I'm the Generations Director there. I oversee all of our young people's groups around the world, so that's why I was traveling a lot this year. My first stop in March was the Philippines. We went on a missions trip there. We had nightly crusades. We ministered in churches, in schools, in villages all around the area. Every day we were speaking and teaching. Each one of us had a different assignment. It was a very tiring trip, but I really saw God's grace in providing for me every step of the way. And we saw many healings, many salvations on the thousands, from 16 of us going and stepping into the Philippines and just trusting God to use us. It was really an incredible trip. And the biggest thing from that trip that God did in me was a hunger to see more people be healed. There were so many that came. There was blind, mute, crippled, and I didn't see some of those be healed on the spot, and it's something that really burned in me, to asking the Lord more to see healings with my own eyes and just see Him touch people. But it was still powerful. Many were healed and set free and saved, and it was great to speak and preach and give the salvation message and see so many respond. The next stop, I was in Israel in May, and I recruited young people through Aglow to come on our annual Israel trip. We've been going into Israel for the last 12 years, and this was the first year we actually had a group of young adults, and there was 14 young adults that came. There was 190 some on the tour. There was over 10 nations represented, and it was really powerful to see young people just hungry to learn more about God and His Word, and to see the Bible come alive to them as they walked where Jesus walked and got to experience His land and His people. And it was really a true life-changing thing for me to see other people impacted, and not just going by myself, but seeing God bring others with me and see them have their life be changed. Many of those young people, it's an expensive trip, and so many of them had incredible miracles of how God provided for them to go on the trip, from a bank calling and saying, you have this bank account you forgot about, there was $2,600 in it, to a girl receiving the largest tax return she'd ever been given that paid for the rest of her balance on her trip. Another girl had a dream about winning a lottery ticket, and she felt like God was saying, I'm going to provide for your trip, and later that week she received a large lump sum of money. And it was just incredible to see God do miracles for people as they were obedient just to say yes, and just to step out of their comfort zone and be obedient to God's voice and go where He tells them to go. The next stop I did for Aglow was in England, and they asked me to speak at their annual conference. There was about 500 to 600 people, and it was a really great time to meet some of our leaders there. As I oversee the young people's groups, we have 15 groups in England, so they had a special luncheon for Generations young adults, and I got to meet people in person that have been doing the work in the field. And it was such an incredible time to see what God's doing in England, and see so much passion and just heart for God that the people in England have, and how they're impacting the other nations. They had invited some of our leaders from Romania, Ukraine, Cyprus, and they gave reports on what God's doing in their nations, and it's just incredible what God is doing all around the world, and bringing people just into greater depths of His love and His grace and His plan for their lives, and to watch them walk in their destinies. I'm just so blessed how God has just sent me out, and all the support that I've received this last year from the church and the prayers. I can't say how much I felt them. There was days and times on the trips where I just felt weary and worn out. I could tell that people were praying for me, and I knew that's what sustained me and kept me going. And God is just so gracious when we're obedient to go. He just gives us the grace. And I'm just blessed to be a part of this church family, and blessed that God has opened up these doors for me. And I'm excited for this year ahead too, of some more doors opening. And it's just incredible what God does when you just are obedient and say yes.